Every single time you pull up directions on your phone, check a weather map, or order a car, you're tapping into this incredibly powerful technology. But most of us never even see it. It's called a Geographic Information System, or GIS for short, and it is the secret brain that makes all our modern maps actually work. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain.
But to really get a handle on this, let's start with a crazy question. What if a map could think? What if it wasn't just a flat picture of the world, but a tool that could actually understand it? A map that could analyze, ask questions, and maybe even predict what's next. Well, that is the giant leap from paper to GIS.
So, first things first, let's talk about how these digital maps are just fundamentally different from those old paper ones we used to have to wrestle with in the car. This isn't just about being easier to fold, it's a complete revolution in what a map can be.
And this really gets to the heart of it. A paper map is static, right? It's one single layer of information, and it can only answer one basic question. What is here? A GIS map, though, that's a whole different beast. It's dynamic. It's built from all these different layers of data that you can stack on top of each other and analyze, and that lets you ask a much, much deeper question. Why is it here?
Okay, so to answer those big why questions, a GIS has to somehow take our messy, complicated world and translate it into a digital language. And it does this in two really clever, totally different ways. Let's get into the basic DNA of a digital map.
So how does a GIS see the world? Well, it uses two main models. First up is vector data. Think of this like drawing. It uses simple points for stuff like fire hydrants, lines for roads, and polygons for things like parks or property lines. It's absolutely perfect for anything with a clear, definite boundary. The other way is raster data. This is more like a digital photograph. The world is represented as a grid of tiny cells, or pixels, and each cell has a value. This is the go-to for continuous things that don't have hard edges, like elevation, temperature, or even air quality.
And these two data types, vector and raster, there are the fundamental building blocks for pretty much any GIS project. The whole process is actually pretty logical. First, you get your data. Then you model it using either vectors or rasters. Then you do your spatial analysis. That's the thinking part. And finally, you visualize your findings and share it as a map that tells a story. This simple workflow is how we turn raw data into real answers.
And this is where it gets really cool. Because GIS uses these independent layers, you can start combining totally different kinds of information to solve incredibly complex problems, as long as they have some kind of geographic piece to the puzzle.
All right, let's make this real with a classic high-stakes example. Imagine your job is to find the absolute safest possible place to build a new nuclear waste facility. I mean, the number of factors is just staggering, and getting it wrong could be a disaster. Where would you even start?
Well, with GIS, you start by breaking that massive problem down into a set of spatial rules or criteria. For instance, you need an area with very specific, stable geology. It has to be a safe distance away from any towns or cities. You absolutely have to avoid protected nature reserves. Oh, and it should probably be reasonably close to major highways for access. See? Every single one of these is a question about geography.
Now here's the magic. In a GIS, each of those rules becomes its own transparent map layer. You have a geology layer, a population layer, a conservation layer, a road layer. You get the idea. The computer then just digitally stacks them up and starts a process of elimination. It looks at the whole map and masks out all the geologically bad spots. Then, on what's left, it masks out everywhere that's too close to people. It just keeps stacking and filtering until, pop, the only areas left showing are the ones that meet every single one of your requirements.
And believe it or not, there's a name for this incredible technique. It's called multi-criteria evaluation, or MCE. It's basically a formal way of combining a bunch of different factors, even conflicting ones, based on the priorities you set. For example, you could tell the system that being far from a city is twice as important as being near a highway. MCE lets you build that kind of logic right into the analysis.
It's the science behind spatial decision-making, and it's used for everything from figuring out where to open a new store to planning emergency response routes.
Now, for a long time, this kind of heavy-duty analysis was locked away on powerful desktop computers for experts only. But those days are long gone. That same intelligence has broken free, and now it's mobile, it's real-time, and it's an immersive part of our everyday lives.
We've gone from looking at the world as this flat, top-down, 2D picture
to creating these fully immersive 3D worlds. I mean, we have tools now, like Drone to Map, that can take a bunch of photos from a drone and automatically stitch them into a realistic, measurable 3D model of a place. This means we can virtually fly through and analyze a location from any angle, adding that crucial dimension of height and volume to our understanding.
And the craziest part? It's all in our hands. With mobile apps, people out in the field can collect data that instantly updates a map for everyone back in the office. Emergency crews can watch live dashboards tracking fires or floods as they happen. And with augmented reality, you can literally hold up your phone and see GIS data, like where underground pipes are, laid right on top of your camera's view of the real world. It's still all about layers, but now those layers are being projected right onto reality itself.
So think about that journey. In just a couple of decades, we've gone from simple drawings on paper to these powerful, predictive 3D models that live in our pockets. It makes you wonder, right? Where on earth does this technology go from here?
There's a great quote that I think sums it up perfectly. The whole vision of using GIS for anything, anytime, anywhere, and this is the key part, by anyone, is happening way faster than any of us could have imagined. This democratization of spatial power is a real game changer.
And that kind of leaves us with this one last really fascinating thought. We've evolved from asking what is here to why is it here, and even where is the best place for this. So now that we have the technology to map, model, and analyze pretty much everything in our world, the real question is, what questions are we going to be brave enough to ask next?